we started off an adventure to meet a very renowned adventurer by the name of Arata Store.
Nice.
And go ahead.
I said nice. You remembered her name.
Oh, I got my notes, bro. See if we can get this through.
I like it.
So, well, when we met at the spot, we ended up finding that she had her head crushed, and through some searching, we're able to find a false face that led us to a list of treasure troves or caches that we need to look at finding. I think there's 5 total. We picked the closest one last time and ended up walking into a cave that found plenty of goblins and quite a lot of cursed goblins, which was quite a fun battle to walk through. The tour ended there with the cursed hill giant, if I got that right, and a small little bear the size of a cat that we can befriend if we have enough time and energy.
And you guys,
we found a very empty treasure chest at the end of that one. The big old wah wah wah.
Yeah. But you guys still got some loot though. You got some stuff from the giant.
We did. We ended up picking up 2 alchemist fires and a healing potion. I think we used a healing potion in one of the alchemist fires to set that hill giant aflame.
Yeah. And you guys had that crazed little mini swarm of goblins, like a whole tribe of like 100 to 200 goblins. And as they died, remember, as they died from being released from this curse, they grew back to full size. So by the time it was all said and done, these little rat-sized goblins that had these little toothpick-wielding scimitars, grew back into their full, their regular size, and you guys are basically waiting in goblin parts.
Blood and guts everywhere. Between the blood and guts of the goblins and then some murder hobo sticking his sword up a giant's butt.
Yep.
We had a great time.
Yep. Blood, guts, goblin piss and shit everywhere. It was nasty. But you guys handled that. You also handled the cursed giant at the end. You guys realized, hey, if this thing turns back and reverts to a normal giant, we're going to be screwed here, because hill giants are really you would be no match for a hill giant, especially as low-ranking adventurers.
I was no match for a hill giant. Small one.
Also, everybody, make sure you guys got your headsets on and also your speakers off, because we're getting some feedback from time to time. All right, so that leaves us with your downtime days. Last adventure we had 5 downtime days. You guys made it to the small town of Parnest, which is right here where I am kind of moving the arrow. And also, that was a great recap. I'm going to give you
yeah, it was good.
I'm going to give you some inspiration, so why don't you add an inspiration to your character? Akin, you can also add one too. Whoever doesn't have inspiration can have inspiration, and Shem, you have 2. So, even though, yes, I know it's not official canon from 5e.
That's why there's 3 boxes there.
Exactly. It's an optional rule, and it's a house rule that Fantasy Grounds has incorporated, and I love it, and I want to take advantage of it. So you guys can have up to 3. But I'm pretty I let the inspiration flow, so you guys don't be afraid to spend it.
All right, so Shem, I did throw a percentage die in. I wanted to do some carousing this time around.
Oh, really?
I knew it was a percentage die, but I have no idea how to look up what is what.
Yeah, so you're pretty much going to spend 5 days carousing, right?
Nice.
So that would be I believe it's 5 gold a day, because you're going to live a pretty ritzy lifestyle over the next 5 days. So absolutely, it's going to cost you 25 gold, but I've shared the carousing table with you. And go ahead and give me a D100. Let's see what happens over the 5 days of you carousing, Shem.
Oh, okay.
And the small town of Parnest. Let's here's that. Here it is right there. Just take a roll on that, and it'll put it in the chat.
Sure. So I only have 13 gold right now, so I can only spend 2 days.
Let's say 2 days of carousing. There you go. And then deduct 2 days from your. You spent 2 days, so you've rolled a 66.
Ooh.
So on the table it says you earn modest winnings from gambling and recuperate your lifestyle expenses for the time spent carousing. So you can add your 10 gold back and kind of give us a little story of what you were doing during these 2 days and what involved this carousing.
There was a small festival that was happening. A lot of pumpkin, a lot of juice, a lot of ale. Myself as a half-orc tend to get a little wound up in anything, so caught myself day 2, got a little groggy in the morning of day 3, and took the rest a couple of days off.
I don't blame you. Very good. At least you broke even. That's the whole.
Yeah, some dice games. I didn't take anyone's pants, that sort of thing. I didn't lose mine. We're happy.
No halfling chicks running around? No halfling tea-backs, anything like that?
Nah, they'd have been ripped in half by the girth of the Shamrock McGee.
Oh, because he would have been wearing them around the town. I love it. All right, so what about anyone else? Have you guys done anything else? You met a couple of new adventurers as well. When you were in town, you met 3: a Ganassi, a female dwarf, and also a Goliath. This big Goliath dude. So,
I'd go so far as to say on my second day, the reason I had such a horrible hangover the next day is because I was hanging out with some shady little dwarf.
little dwarven chick with a beard. I like it.
She drank me right under the table.
I love
a
it.
meticulously kept, glorious beard.
Schmo, thank you so much, buddy.
You have
Good
to
to see
have
you,
a bottle
Schmo.
of beard oil on you at all times when you're a dwarf.
Yeah. You gotta have a tankard at least.
Do all dwarven women have beards, or is this just some of them that are blessed?
They all have them when I play them.
Sounds good.
Oh boy, you should see when the dwarf pulls her pants down. You should see that beard down there. Jesus, it's like buckwheat in a headlock. No, I'm just kidding.
It's connected all the way up to her facial beard, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
I had to do that. All right, so Xiphus.
Yeah, you don't know what's down there. She could be tattooed down there and had to shave it all off.
Xiphus, what did you do during your 5 days of downtime?
Xiphus just mainly relaxed, but he would like to make sure he gets his familiar in the game before I forget.
Sure thing. What kind of familiar are you going with, bud?
It's going to be an owl named Hoots.
Hoots? All right. We got some feedback coming back from you, Xiphus. So we'll have to get you. You got a headset on or anything like that, man?
Yeah, I got a headset on. Is it buzzing or something? I can't hear anything.
Yeah, every time I start talking, I can hear. But no problem. It's really light, but no big deal. Val, what about you? What'd you do during your 5 days? Val's still sleeping from his 5 days of downtime.
I forgot my name.
Poor Raz.
That rock hit me a little hard.
Yeah, you had to recuperate from being taken unconscious a couple of times, probably, I would think.
Yeah, I took the 50 gold that I made and bought a healing potion.
Nice. You were able to find a small little Acme Adventurer vault there in Parnass, and you found one. Absolutely. So our new adventurers, Steamy and Dorothy and Ulkin, how did you guys run into these 3 adventurers? You had, I would imagine you probably, in the tavern, probably heard them talking about these treasure casts. I'm not sure. I don't know what the guys did. I don't know if they put an advertisement up looking for more adventures, but what. But somehow all 6 of you guys are together.
I heard about it through that festival where I'm drinking everybody under the table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought
good.
Shemgrath, he introduced us, didn't he?
At least the dwarf.
I'm
I love doing everything
I heard
impromptu.
it through the
I love it.
order. I mean, I heard of an Evo in the mountains, and I had to check it out.
So you're what are you in the Order of the Gauntlet?
Yep.
Yeah, so you basically had been notified through your organization that there were other members here to meet that Verada store. But then word gets back to Parnas because she was a huge contributor. She had spent a lot of money, of her own money, to help build Parnas. And so she was a revered, not only a revered treasure hunter, but also like a very well-loved person in the community of Parnas. And there was, and that's what this celebration was for. Shem was celebrating. It was for celebrating Verada, and all of the her burial and stuff was done. So very nice. Kind of worked together. It just kind of worked out, didn't it? I like it.
Love it.
Love it. And we're not even voice actors, guys. I mean, come on. I love it.
Naturals.
Shots fired. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we? All right, so you guys have this note. All right? You guys remember this note, right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to share it for everyone, all right? And this is something that you had found on Verada. And you guys probably kept it secret, I would imagine. And this has the location of 5 different hidden treasure caches throughout the Grey Peak Mountains. And the Grey Peak Mountains is a huge place, as you can see. The Grey Peak Mountains extend probably a couple of 100 miles from north to south, and it is on the very eastern side of the Sword Coast. Kind of almost, pretty much on the verge of Auroch, the massive desert that is there. And there's these 5 hidden treasure caches. And you guys found one last week. There are 4 more still located in the Grey Peak Mountains. Have they all been ransacked? Has all the treasure been taken? I don't know. That's for you guys to find out. So you guys are all in the Happy Griffin Tavern in Parnas, and you guys are all sitting around the table. So I'll let you guys talk about what you want to do next. Now that all of the downtime's been talked about, everybody's recovered from their injuries, recovered from drinking and carousing. What say you, adventurers, in the Happy Griffin Tavern?
Yeah, so part of the bet that ended me under the table was that if I lost, we would take this dwarf and tell a little bit about the caches that we ended up coming against. I didn't keep the note. I don't know who did, but they can read off where our next cache is located.
Did we determine who kept the note, or was it Keyleth or something?
One of you three. One of you three has it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right.
Because Keyless isn't here. He handed it off to me.
All right. So you have it, Val?
Yeah, I got the note. So basically, I think we should go for the second one, because she had them in an order where they're found. I figure they're probably the second one's going to be the closest one to the first one.
Okay.
Sounds
I
good
don't
to
know
me.
about you, but I don't know the area very well.
I don't either, but I figured she had some kind of order to list them this way.
Yeah, so I think, is it Akan? You might have an idea where the this pyramid might be.
Akin knows. He knows where the area is. Of course, Akin, he's being a Goliath. He's been in the mountains a little bit. He's traveled. I mean, even though the Goliaths are actually from the far north, but sure, he could help guide you there. He's been throughout the mountains before. Sure.
And I am a Mount Dwarf.
No, there you go.
Excellent.
So
I believe there were
Akin and-
coordinates of some sort given with the note, too.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
you mentioned.
Yeah, on the other side of it, there's a map. And it kind of has all the locations and key points to look for, for the actual locations themselves.
The second cache it is.
Okay.
All right.
So we're sitting
Okay.
around having some breakfast, having some lunch
Sure.
before we set off.
Absolutely, you guys are eating anything you want. It's early in the morning. You figure it'll probably take you half a day's journey to get to where you need to go towards the middle of the mountains. Probably half a day. It's not that far from Parnas.
All right, so Shem's taking a good helping of whatever's on the plate. I'm assuming eggs and bacon are definitely part of the meal.
Getting me hungry.
I hope so.
I'm waiting until the last because if I start eating, the plate is empty like quickly.
The server came out and said, "Where's that halfling that wanted these damn bran muffins that I cooked up specially for him? He's not around here anywhere."
Yeah, I think that was all a big joke. No one actually likes bran muffins.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
Nice. So the second cache, you guys know it's basically located in the middle of the Great Peak Mountains. And it's pretty much between the two highest peaks. And it's this, leveled area. And supposedly there is a pyramid of boulders. How they got there? Verada doesn't mention that. But she does mention that there was volcanic activity at several points in time. So, you guys have breakfast, and you are off towards the Great Peak Mountains, which are just within eye shot anyway of Parnas. As you can see them just poking up on the horizon to the northwest.
And I'm sure there was a joke about the female stuffing her face with sausage.
Nothing better. Oink,
I'm worried about that one you put in your pants.
I'll save that for later. Let's see. As you guys are traveling, because there are some rolling hills before you get to the Great Peak Mountains, I want to see if you run into anything. Maybe you could run into something mysterious. Maybe you could run into something that wants to kill you and take everything. So, as I like to do, let's have a random counter roll.
Maybe we'll run into somebody who wants to give us everything.
It could be that too. So I need one person. Throw me a roll in the dice tower, please. A D20. And we'll see.
All right, not it.
Ladies first.
Yeah, we'll say that the lady rolled for us.
18, 19, or 20, there's an encounter.
Ooh,
All right.
what
you
does that
guys.
mean?
Oh, yeah. Nothing. So the higher you roll, the worse it is. Especially during the day is not as bad as night. There's a better chance to have safe, basically, speaking out of character here. The way I like to do encounters is basically either during the day in 18, 19, or 20 would be an encounter during the day, and then at night it would be maybe 14 or 15 up to 20. So, but Dorothy rolled a 4. That's when you want to roll lows on my encounter rolls. No encounter. You guys make it to the base of Great Peak Mountain, just as Verada Store has labeled on this great piece of parchment that you have, and you found the trail. You actually found her markings. She had placed a couple of markings on each side of the trail as it runs up, almost at a 60-degree angle to try to get up these hills, these mountains. So,
Hey, dwarf. Are you coming up already? Because can your little feet handle this grade?
ooh,
Hey, monstrosity. I have a name.
monstrosity.
Duh, I'm not that intelligent to remember your name already.
Love it.
Okay. I can tell by looking at you.
Wow. Shots fired already. This is going to end up being a PvP match tonight.
Not an
Yeah,
Adventures
yeah.
League.
So, yeah, not an Adventures League. That's against the rules. So, what about Dorothy? Do you two know each other, Dorothy and Alkin? previously and Steamy, do you guys know each other or what? Steamy's been pretty quiet. I don't even think Steamy introduced himself.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk, but everyone keeps interrupting.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Steamy.
I'm Anime Freaking Chad, and I play Steamy Tide.
Very nice. Welcome to the game there, Steamy. Alright, you guys start to travel up the Great Peak Mountains. Alright. It's a pretty tough journey. It takes you, you guys are sweating. I mean, you guys are exhausted. You guys make several stops along the way. So you guys can go ahead and everybody deduct a ration from your character sheet. Because you take several stops, and you're burning so much energy, you basically eat a day's worth of rations traveling up the Great Peak Mountains. And you know, you guys, speaking out of character, you know I love you guys to spend rations, because when I was a kid and I was playing D&D, I had the same 10 goddamn rations on my character sheet for like 30, like I would say probably 10 years. So I always said to myself, if I ever DM'd, I'm going to make people deduct rations from their sheet. So
You got to.
Well, you know, if they're Twinkies, they could probably last 30 years.
yeah. Well, I've been playing D&D for 30 years. I mean, although I did take a couple of years off and play EverQuest and Dark Age of Camelot and stuff, but for the most part, since '84. Oh, such a long time ago.
I wasn't even born yet.
That's for another show. Thanks for rubbing it in as well. So as you know, higher as you ascend up into the mountains, you know, you start to reach the snow caps and stuff. So you're able to, you know, find a couple really cold streams, quench your thirst, refill your water skins and whatnot. And you see, you know, as you're traveling up, you know, the grass starts to dissipate and disappear, becomes more rocky, more gravelly, a lot more difficult to actually maneuver. But if anybody has any kind of climbing equipment, you have no problem, and you're basically just waiting for everybody else. So you finally meet your destination. Now I want one person to give me a D6 roll in the tower, because it's actually taken a little bit more time. You thought you were going to get there at midday, but with all of, you know, the stopping and whatnot, Anime, you actually guys are getting there at early dusk, so the sun is now starting to set. But you still have plenty of light. You probably have at least a couple hours of daylight left. So, you know, as you are looking at the map, you know, in the distance, you know, you see these two massive mountains, and now they've gotten so large, you're here. And, you know, the plateau starts to level off as you're between these massive Great Peak Mountains. And in eye shot, you can actually see a large pyramid, and it looks like it's totally comprised of boulders. I mean, really round boulders, beautifully circular boulders just stacked up, making this huge pyramid. And it looks to be about anywhere between, from the distance you're at, maybe anywhere between 60 and 100 feet in height. And you're still a little bit of distance away, and it looks like, instead of being a pointed pyramid, it looks like it kind of levels off at the top, you know what I mean? Now, between you and the base of this boulder pyramid that you see, several hundred yards, and it is a solid stone field, and it's flat. You know, this is the land that, you know, this is that section of land between the highest two peaks, of course. And you can tell that at one time, one of these large peaks let a lot of, you know, molten lava out, and, you know, it kind of has crusted the earth, and you see a lot of dead tree stumps up. At one time they were burnt. They've just basically just rotted into almost nothing. And there are these deep gouges, like these deep cracks, all the way from where you're at the very edge of the field, and the pyramid. Now, these gouges are massive. I mean, these things are several hundred yards wide, and some are even the length of the entire stone field. Now, these cracks, because this is how this is in Verada's notes with the molten lava and stuff. These cracks aren't that wide. Some are maybe a foot wide, and some at the max are probably about 2 feet wide, 3 feet wide. So to navigate, you're not going to have any problem. You're not going to have to set up ropes. You're not going to have to make any kind of acrobatic or athletic checks or jumps and use that type of a skill that your character has to get across these. You can just kindly, just real gently jump over them. You won't have any problem whatsoever. And you cannot see, the first gouge, as you can see, it just goes down into complete black. So it looks like they are very, very deep. But you're not going to fit. I mean, you could, your legs would get jammed, and you're probably up to your hips. But you're not going to fall. Yeah, you're not going to fall all the way down unless maybe you're a gnome or something, and maybe the widest of the gouges.
Or if you roll a 1 at some point.
I don't think I would do that to you. So you've got all these gouges. I mean, there are just dozens and dozens of gouges in front of you. And like I said, from what you can see, it looks like the widest gouge is a little less than 3 feet. Easily be crossed.
I'm only 3 feet.
All right, so I'm gonna show you guys where you guys are at on a map. All right. Now you guys are pretty much walking from, because the path took you north, and now you're having to walk back south. All right. So you are literally facing south, and you're looking at this this boulder, this pyramid of boulders, and it's like I said, it's quite a ways away, and you navigate over all of most of these gouges and massive cracks, and you can see in the map these are those. So what are you guys doing as you're moving along? What are you guys doing?
I'm walking next to the crack to my right, just kind of keeping an eye on it, ensuring my footing is secure. Does it look as though any of the field has steam rising off of it?
In several parts, sure. In several parts, there's a little steam. No hissing sound, nothing like that. And actually, you've even gotten close to a couple of them, and there's a little bit of heat coming out of these, Shem, but nothing that's going to scald you or do any kind of damage to you. All of this molten activity happened years ago.
Zyphus is avoiding the cracks. Definitely looking at that pyramid.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, whoever made this did a great job. And as you guys are starting to get a little bit closer, you got the hundreds of yards of space between you has got to about 100 feet or so, and you can actually tell that this pyramid has like a filling or a grout that is actually binding this together. It's actually quite a feat to create something like this.
What the pyramid, I say, to do all this?
I'd like to look at that grout a little bit. Is there anything that seems a bit off about it?
From where you're at, or are you going to move up a little bit closer, or
is the grout in the pyramid? I thought it was in the cracks. I'm sorry.
No, the grout is in. Yeah, the grout is definitely in the pyramids.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep making my way up towards the pyramid. That's where the goal is. That's where we need to get.